Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and those who have yet to make up their minds. I am your host, JustJack.com, coming to you live from sunny San Diego with my homegirl, Kayluh. Do you want to
Hi.
say your last name?
Yeah, my name is Kayluh, Oteo. Hit me up on Instagram. We can put that in some description bio, yeah?
Okay, yes. Find her on all social media platforms.
All platforms.
All platforms. My grandmother is not doing too well, so if I have to leave every now and then, please forgive me. We'll cut it out and then come back. I smell something burning, so let me just go see real quick. Because she just
go check.
She just fell a little while ago. And so let me go check real quick.
Today?
Okay. We're good. The house isn't on fire.
Okay, great. Glad nothing's burning.
Nothing's burning. Back to the show. Everything that can go wrong, everything that can happen will happen with me. That's just a fair warning. In true Just Jack fashion. Let's start all over again.
Okay.
No, let's not start all over again. We welcome you to subscribe to our newsletter at justjack.com with 2 S's because one just ain't enough. Let's get on with the show, girl. Let's get right into it because I have questions. Let's talk about how we met. Do you remember how we met?
I do. I was in high school. I think my junior year of high school, and you were dating my brother at the time, and you were going to do my makeup for prom, and I came over to your house, and you had glitz and glammed me up to the tens, and that was, I think, the first time we met.
Hold on.
My phone is dead.
Your phone's plugged into your...
Oh, it's got charged?
Yeah, I charged it for you this morning.
Oh, thank you.
Girlfriend. Round 2. Let's try it again. Okay. You were saying...
Hold on, it froze a little bit. Can you repeat that?
You were saying, what were you saying? How we met.
Oh, how we met originally. It was for my junior prom. You had done my makeup. And then after that, I think we would just like have small instances where we would meet, and then it kind of blossomed as it continued forward into the future.
I remember seeing you at the coffee shop one time. I wasn't dating your brother anymore, but I saw you at a coffee shop, remember? And you're like, Jack! And then my friends were like, who is
I
do. Why did she act like that with you? And it's like, oh, they all act like that with me, you know? Everybody's just so happy to see me.
It was. Yeah, no, I was doing something and I just saw you walking around. And I was just like, I immediately knew who you were and had to give the grand hello.
Yeah. And when we first did your makeup, that was interesting because at the time I wanted to join this network marketing company. And then what happened was they only accepted a credit card, and I didn't have a credit card at the time. So I was talking to your brother about it at Disneyland of all places. And then he was like, oh, I'll make the deal with you. How about you do my little sister's makeup for prom, and then I'll just pay for your entry fee to the network marketing company. And I was like, oh, perfect. Done deal. And then I met you, and I was like, oh my God, I love this little girl. your personality, and even back then, you had that I don't fuck with nobody, nobody fucks with me attitude. Right? Do you agree? Did you always have that?
I'd agree.
Is this something that you've had all your life?
No, I don't think so. That was definitely something that grew. But I was always like the kid that I knew how to stand up for myself, and I would figure out how to get what I want, and then I would get what I want. And so the don't fuck with me attitude definitely came once like all of those skills in which I was learning heightened a little bit. And then it was like, okay, now I really know how to run this shit. Whereas before it was just like a little kid just being an asshole, you know?
What was that little kid like? What do you remember as a child?
I was a brat. I still am.
I was about to say, you
I'm
still
not
are.
gonna forget that. I still am a little brat. No, I was a little brat. So I was youngest of 5 kids. And then I was also daddy's little girl. So I got whatever I wanted. But I was a very anxious child. I was very had that I don't fit in with this family. Everyone already has their cliques. Where do I fit in? And I definitely had those moments growing up where it was like all of my siblings would partner together and then I would be like the odd one out. But I think if anything, that just like heightened my relationship with my father. Because right now we do have such a great relationship, but that's because it's taken years to get to where we are.
Yeah. You really worked on that one. Are you the closest to him still?
I'd say yes.
You're like, I'd say yes. Don't ask my siblings.
No, I think they'd agree. It's funny because we all have different, like we all grew up in the same house, but we all have different traumas and different ways we had grown up. Like everyone has, like, for example, Noni, same house, same everything, yet I have really bad like mommy issues, I'd say, whereas he has really bad daddy issues. And where it's the same, but we were just raised and catered so incredibly differently that I think they'd agree that I have the best relationship with my dad, but I don't mean it to say like there wasn't so much hard work put into it, because there was.
Yeah. I feel that. I feel that can be the same with a lot of siblings. I feel like you have we were under the same roof. Why are you so fucked up? And I'm sure my siblings look at me and they're like, excuse me, why are you so fucked up? You know, why do you have such a crazy personality that you have, Jack? I was just talking to my sister yesterday and she was like, my mom had told her something along the lines of me and my sister gang up on my mom. And my sister's like, he is the last motherfucker I want on my side for anything. And then you have me like, why don't you like me? My favorite.
You're like, I did nothing wrong. What are you talking about?
What did I do? Believe in you. I have a gift for you. Where is I have something to share with you.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look what I found.
Oh my goodness.
How cute are these two?
Babies.
For anybody who is watching or listening, I'm showing a photograph of her and Noni's your big brother, right?
Big brother.
How much older is Noni than you?
That's crazy.
Did we cut out? How much older is Noni than you?
I think we cut out a little bit.
How much more older is he than you?
I think he's almost 4 or 5 years older. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's about 4.
How old is this little girl in the photograph?
I don't even know how old I was then. Maybe 5, 6, probably.
What kind
Maybe
of
a little bit
advice?
younger.
What kind of advice would this little girl give to the current Kayla we see today?
What would she tell me?
Yeah, what kind of advice would she give to you?
That's the question, Jack. I think she wouldn't tell me to, I think she would tell me to enjoy life more. Um, Being so young, I had lots of anxiety as a child, even then at that young age. But one thing I had always tried to do at that young age was to just like ignore the anxieties. And I think even now, she would tell me to just drop all of the anxiety and to just enjoy life, like to be that carefree and to be that foolish. Um, I wish, like, I can envision her telling me to stay foolish because I'm not
Yeah.
anymore. And I really do wish I was still.
You still can be.
I know. And that's something I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be more foolish. In essence of like letting your guard down and letting people in. We had talked about it previously of building boundaries, not walls. And so that's in practicing with the foolishness is trying to bring that back and okay, this is a boundary, but I'm not gonna immediately board up.
Right. You can be foolish without being stupid.
Yes.
You know, having the gift of discernment is really good. And, you know, people always, they say red flags, right? Don't avoid red flags because God throws a brick before he throws a pebble before he throws a brick, right? God throws a pebble before he throws a brick. And so if the red flags are there, listen to those red flags. That's your ego letting you know, hey, sister, check it real quick. Let's check this. But I agree. I feel that it would be wise for so many of us to be a lot more foolish and fall in love and laugh and dance and, you know, do all that horny stuff that people are obsessed with. Humanity, the soul is obsessed with. What do you think, going back to that childhood, what do you think you now would tell her?
There are honestly so many things. But I think I would just tell her to keep it simple. You know, I think that we are constantly the ones making life extremely hard. And if we get down to the basis of it, life can be really quite simple to navigate. I'm not saying you're going to have a simple life. You can have an extraordinary life, but you just keep the issues and the problems, you keep it quite simple. And so I would tell her to live that extraordinary life and to change things and to constantly put pressure on people and to keep doing what she's doing, but to keep those issues, to keep them quite simple because they always have a quite simple outcome. Because I would always at that age get hung up on the issues and I would make them the biggest picture in the room when frankly it doesn't need to be.
Why? I noticed that you can do that. You can make a certain issue be the biggest picture of the room. How does that work in your present life now? What does that look like?
It's a lot of keeping me in check about it. And so for me, when like my anxiety gets to that point, which it does fairly often, it's a lot of just like, okay, I have done everything I can for this moment. I'm not going to find my solution. I'm going to wrap this up in a little box and I'm going to put it on the side, give myself a breather, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to open this box again and I'm going to figure it out again. Whereas like setting that issue to the side, because in all reality, especially now where we're at, we have the unlimited amount of time. And so it's a lot of like not overworking my brain, but grabbing it, saying, I'll touch you later. And then, okay, bring it back into the room when we can simplify it again, when we can say, okay, A, B, C, perfect.
From that rational place,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just a reaction. It's more like, you know, I've looked at this picture for a while, and I would like to show you what this big picture is, if you guys don't mind. Is that what
Yeah.
that looks like now?
I'm very quick to react. I'm very, like, even verbally in an argument, I got you. Like the minute before you said the comeback, I already have another one that's lined up here. I'm very quick. And yeah, that's great when I'm in like a rebuttal with someone, but it's not great when I'm sitting here trying to contemplate what my next move is. And so that really is a lot of work to just kind of be like, okay, we're going to not fast react, and we're going to put this to the side, and we're going to come back to it later. It's not something I like doing. And so it's a practice that I constantly am making myself do.
So it's more of the internal dialogue. What does the inner self-saboteur look like for you presently? These days, what does that look like?
For me, the like inner self-saboteur is limiting. So what I've been putting into practice is practicing that anything I need, the universe will give to me. But my inner self-saboteur is constantly telling me, well, this didn't work in the past. Why are you trying it again now? Or look at this that happened in the past. So my inner self-saboteur is constantly grabbing my past and throwing it in my face. And I have to say, well, we changed this bad thing in the past to a good thing. But that's, again, challenging my self-saboteur and saying, let's see where this ended up. Because a lot of the time she'll bring it to me and I'm like, you're right. Even now, like I'll bring like a boy. So I'll be talking to a boy and I'll be like, I don't know what to say because like I'm not good at expressing my feelings or like my emotions. And then I'll be reminded, like, the reason you do that is because this person broke your heart, and then this person stomped on it, and then this person. And so then I'm like, wait. I'm putting all of this on them. Let me take a step back. And so it's a lot of fast. And then me constantly being like, let's slow down. But my past, she attacks me with my past all the time, every day.
Is this, would you say this is a bad thing?
No, but it's definitely not there to help.
Because I kind of like when my past is like, listen, queen, you're doing this because this person did this to you. Let's not forget. But then also at the same time, are you saying that when you are reminded of your past, you're able to heal your future?
No, because I feel as though I've put in the work to thus heal the past, and like not fully. I don't think anyone's ever fully healed from anything really. But I think that when I look at my past, I've talked the circles and I've said, okay, this is where we landed on this. I'm happy. I'm content with this. This is where we landed on this. The universe gave me this. Okay, perfect. We'll take it as it is. And then when my self-saboteur comes in and tells me about it, it's not telling me because it's like, you talked your way out of this already. It's coming back at me and it's saying, look at this mistake. Look at these things that you did in the past. Don't you want to cringe? Don't you want to be upset? So she's not, it's almost as if she doesn't want to be healed from everything. She still wants to be moody and sit in the corner and say, I'm upset almost. Whereas me now, I'm like, no. We've talked about this. This is where we are now. But she still wants to be like a moody bitch about it.
So you're really running who is running the show these days, would you say?
That's a hard one. I think we all take turns running the show. We do. We do all take turns running the show. I think right now, I want to say me, myself, in my present moment, I run the show a little bit more, but I don't want to take away from the fact that they also, when they're in their power, they're in their power. And so for me, when that happens, it's a lot of like keeping myself in check and being like, no, who's really talking here? Who's really upset here? And a lot of the times I'm not the one upset. It's my ego upset, you know?
The ego, she's a tricky bitch. She tries to run the show. So you don't really let her run that show? Would you say you have a healthy balance of your ego with your spirit running that show? Like a healthy balance of those two?
I'd say yes. I'd say that they're constantly, so part of like keeping myself in check with everything else that's running in my brain, it's constantly, I'm trying to figure out like the best way to describe this, but it's almost as if before a thought fully gets processed, we're going to stop it right in the middle and say, wait, why are we processing this? And so like all of the voices, everyone within there is constantly like keeping everyone else in check, if that makes sense. So before this like super bad thought comes in, we're going to stop it immediately because it's like, okay, what is this really going to serve us? What is this really going to do for us? And that's where everyone kind of plays a hand in it, where nothing really gets to the center, nothing really gets to the heart if it isn't really important to us.
I love that you're able to do that. How did you, have you always done this or is this new?
I want to say it's fairly new because before I was very quick to involve my emotions into it. It's almost as if I've grabbed my emotions and said, you're super powerful, so we're saving you for the good shit. Stop feeling these little things that don't get you anywhere, that get you to the same spot. So I like if I really look at it, I just grabbed my emotions and said, we're going to save you because your emotions are powerful. Your emotions are your superpower. So really save them for what's important, not for the same mind trick over and over and over again. And so it's just subtracting the emotions and saying, okay, we really don't need to feel that. Just leave it alone. Okay, next thing. And saving that emotions for those grand, beautiful, heart-wrenching things.
I love this concept. I love that you're able to really stop it in its tracks. What else are you able to stop in their tracks?
Right now?
Yeah.
Fear is something I've been practicing stopping in its tracks immediately. I think right now in my becoming and in many ways like already have became, fear is still like this main contributor that's constantly saying, well, why are you doing this? Or let's just not. And that fear is something that in my life has always played a key. That little girl was fearful. Growing up, I was always scared of something. I was always scared my friends' parents were getting divorced, and so my parents were going to get one, or this is happening to our family, so this must be really, really bad. And fear has always engulfed me. And it's the practice of not letting that fear really scare me. Because if we go down to the simplicity of it, a situation that scares us, okay, well, how do we react to that situation? What is that situation really doing? What is the outcome? Let's weigh the pros and cons. Okay, we've done that. Both situations don't look that bad anymore. We've dissected both situations so much that, you know what, we can live in either one. So why are we scared of it? It might be intimidating, yes, but we've dissected it already. We know what it's going to look like. So why are we afraid?
I wish more people were able to do these techniques and have these conversations with the inner the inner dialogue, I guess, right? Is that what it all boils down to? It's how we speak to ourselves. How are you speaking to yourself these days, presently? What are some things that you say to yourself?
Like mantras?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a few mantras that are for me like on repeat now, where those are the ones like when I'm feeling a certain way, I'll just like repeat that to myself. One of the ones that I say constantly is I am safe. That's a big one for me recently, is just saying I am safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. My home is my safe space. The earth is safe. We are one, we are together. It's that safe feeling that I constantly need to reassure myself of. It's also I am loved and I am loving. Um, that one is one of my favorites right now. And then the universe gives me exactly what I need. The universe provides my abundance. All there is abundance. I get what I attract to me is one that I also, that's the double-edged sword one, but it does need to be double-edged sword. It does need to be. I like that concept of it also. If I give someone negativity, all right, I will receive it back. But if I gave someone negativity, okay, universe, give it back to me. Why do I need it now? And I always take it as a learning lesson, and always take it with, this is given to me from a greater power than my own. And then another one was from the book that you actually gave me. It was on every page, and so I kind of adapted that one too. And that one is all is well in my world. And that's typically how I end my mantras. All is well in my world.
The book that we gave you was You Can Heal Your Life.
Yes.
By Louise Hay.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very good book. But for anybody who's listening, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I had
very life-changing for me, and helped with my own becoming so much.
I was going to go to her birthday party, your birthday party, and usually what I do is I just give my friends a Just Jack Chap, and I just give them a little birthday card and on my merry way. But for some strange reason, I was about to leave, and I bumped into my bookshelf, and two books fell. One was Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahamsa Yogananda, and the second one was You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I have multiple copies of these books in my house for occasions such as these. And I've seen people read quickly, but I've never seen them read as quickly as you read You Can Heal Your Life. You were like, oh, I'm reading the book you gave me. I'm like, oh, you go, girl. Oh, I'm finished with the book you gave me. I'm like, what? Your life must be so damn good right now, because you are healed. We are constantly healing our lives.
Mm-hmm.
I have another gift for you. I was supposed to bring it out when we talked about the childhood, but I have another one, and I'm going to attempt to share my screen, the right screen, the correct screen. Can you see my screen?
I can.
Oh, look at, they're already warning me. Be careful with this message. Oteo. I feel like my guides are always telling me, be careful with this message. Be careful. We have a special gift for you. Can we watch it? Let's see what it could be. Oh, can you still see?
My name is Maria Elena, but they always call me Maria, which I don't like it.
Oh, I know. I can't see it. I hear it though.
You can't hear it? Can you hear it now?
I can hear it. I can't see it.
You can't see it. Hold on. I'm going to share a new screen. How about that? Can you see that?
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Let's see what she has to say. You know this lady?
Hi.
I do. She's my grandma.
My name is Maria Elena, but they always call me Maria, which I don't like it. I prefer to call me Billy. I'm the grandma for Kayla and Oteo. I have 6 beautiful grandkids, and all the time, all my grandkids are bringing this stuff to me and her mother. But I think I'm number one and my number two. And then something else too. Today we want to talk about Kayla. Kayla is a very special little girl. She was an green clover. I don't know, elementary school.
Clover flat.
Clover flat. She made me this beautiful vase. It's been with me. She was in third or fourth grade when she made it for me, beautiful, and I keep it as a very, very, very valuable to me. Then later on, another time, she baked this. It's right. It's not crooked.
No, that's good. Yeah.
It's another stuff. I've been keeping it for the last 10 years, I think. And now I had a most valuable. The name is already erased, but what's inside is what it matters. In here, she gave one to her mother, and then she brought me one to me. A beautiful letter from school that they made in there, and it's for Lina and for Kayla. And over here is Kayla in the bottom. And then I have another Christmas card, Christmas letter that she wrote on. It has not had a date, but this one is from the 207. You can read how old it is. And here's a letter that says, "Can you read it? Because you can read it for me."
You can you read it?
Yeah, can you read it?
Yep.
Dear Santa, this year I have been good. Listen, good, okay? What what I already want is a guitar or a microphone or a kid bop. What's a bop? Or TV thing. I don't know what it is. Thank you. I hope you get this letter. Love, Kayla, your friend. Right there. I know she doesn't remember anymore, but I still have it, okay? I wish, and I have a lot of things from Kayla, from the whole family, from all my grandkids. From all my grandkids, I have a lot of things to remember. I love them. I love them very much. Thank you.
How cute is she?
She is the queen. She is the cutest. Oh, goodness.
Do you remember writing that letter to Santa Claus?
Absolutely not. But we were friends, apparently.
She was a good girl. Is that the last time you ever considered yourself a good girl?
Not in a while. I wouldn't say I'm a bad girl. It's just a little bit naughty.
I would definitely call us naughty girls. I would not.
Not bad girls. Just
no, definitely
naughty.
No, we just have bad habits.
Yes.
We have bad habits. I'll take that. I have bad habits. Bad habits die hard.
Yeah.
What? Can we talk about Mom real quick?
Yeah, let's talk about Mom. Give me 1 second. My just alerted me about my battery.
Okay.
Apples be dying when you own them too long. Sorry, that's one of my lovers.
That's one of your lovers calling you?
Just texting me a couple of times.
How many lovers?
Blushing a little bit.
How many lovers do you keep on hand?
When is this airing? No.
Just one for now. We'll just say just one. You know what? I'll cut that one out of the.
Well, I only ever have one favorite. I'll say that.
Yeah, I love that. I'm stealing that.
I only have one favorite.
I
Yeah, because there are a lot that I do entertain. But for me, connections always few and far between, like a real solid connection. So I say I have a lot of people. But the ones I have connections with, once I have one, I don't really go looking for more. I let that one fade, and then I attract a new favorite.
Oh, there's a new flavor of the month.
As Noni likes to say, the shady bitch.
He has no room to talk. I don't want to hear him.
True. He goes, oh, she's with the flavor of the week. And I'm like, excuse me, we're keeping this one for a month.
You should have said, ain't that the pot called the kettle black? Hi, pot, I'm kettle.
Exactly, yes.
That's when he hears this show. He's going to kill me. Mom. We were going to talk about mom.
Yes.
What was it like growing up with someone like mom in your surroundings?
Just for me, it was like strong ass woman. She taught me what it was to be a strong, independent woman. My mom did too. Also, we'll give her credit. However, my grandma was divorced. Always had grandchildren in the home, was always doing something, up out of bed, doing dishes, making food. She was that abuelita that did not sit still. Always in the garden, always doing something. So growing up with her, I really saw what it meant to be independent, to do things on your own, and not just do things on your own, but enjoy doing them on your own. Enjoy being single. Because I will say, she enjoys not having a man telling her what to do. As much as she would love for all of us to get married and have children, and she would love that path for us, I think if I were to sit down with her and say, you know what, I am this independent woman that can't be tied down, that right now this is where I'm at, she would say, okay, 100% I respect you. And I think that's where me and her are at right now in our relationships, because I'll go over and I'll be like, Grandma, I met a boy. And she'll be like, you're just going to break his heart in a month. I don't want to talk about it. And I'll be like, wow, Grandma, like I'm in love for the month. Let me be in love.
The month.
Exactly. No, she calls me out on it now, where I'm like, Grandma, I love this boy. And she goes, you leave him alone. He comes from a good family. You're going to break his heart. And I'm like, excuse me. He's going to break mine.
She has the other person's best intentions.
Exactly. And she's just like, leave him alone. Leave him alone.
Leave that poor boy alone.
Fun to play with. Fun to play with.
What so single, but she was married, right? Wasn't she? She was married.
She was married. She's married twice.
Oh, 2 times.
Yeah, she was married to my grandfather. They got a divorce around the time my mother was born. She remarried Gina's father, and then they got a divorce soon after, I believe. And then since then, she's been single.
And let's talk about growing up in the church. What was that like for you?
That was hard. I have nothing in love, respect. So I grew up LDS, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And that was hard for me. That was so incredibly difficult. I knew no other way of life. That at one point I thought everyone was like this. Like I thought everyone had these guilty thoughts. I thought everyone did the same thing every Sunday. And that was my thought process. Growing up, I didn't connect with it. But around the thing about the Mormon church, I'll tell you this. how they have their Mormon missions that they have set up. When you're growing up within the church and that's all you know, it's either you go to college or you serve a mission. Which one are you going to do? Now, I'm not very book smart. So right out of college, it came very clear that I have only been prepared to do one thing right now. My whole life, I have been preparing for one thing. And that's what I am to do next. So I ended up serving a Mormon mission. But when I took a step back out at the age that I am now, and I look at it and it was like, yeah, because that was the only option I could look at. That was the only option in my world at the moment, was go and do this. So at one point I did trick myself into believing it. I wanted so badly to. But, you know, as you get older, you really just decide, am I going to live my life or am I going to live the life someone else wants for me? And that came without fault. There was a lot of issue that everyone, and being the youngest of the family, being the baby, everyone's got shit to say. Everyone's got an idea of what your life needs to look like. Everyone wants to tell you how to be, what to be. Even the rebellious ones want to tell you to be more rebellious than them, but not as iconic as them. Everyone has something to throw in your face. And everyone gets mad when I just sit back and do absolutely fucking nothing. Sorry.
Girl, I am waving my flag. I am snapping my fingers. It's the truth. It's the truth. When did you finally come to the realization that there was something more for you?
Like, when did it all finally hit?
Yeah. How old were you?
I want to say I was about like 21, to be honest. Like, I always knew I was like, there's always something I'm meant to do. I'm always meant to be this type of person. And I always knew that what I was going to be wasn't going to be conventional. I always kind of knew that already. But it wasn't until I was 21 where I first finally was like, I'm gonna go do this. And I was still active within the church at 21 years old. But my thing was, where's the line? Okay, great. I'm gonna ride right on top of it. Why? Because I'm not falling. I'm not picking a side. I'm just writing it. But then I had gone to San Francisco to see a boy, still within the church, had told my parents, I'm sleeping at a friend's house. I'm not going to sleep at his house. Like, no. We're fine. We're good. I am still your perfect Mormon daughter. Bitch, I went to San Francisco to go have sex. Everybody knew that. And while I was there, it was the first time where I was able to fully release everything that is my Mormon personality. I left it in San Diego because I was going to go to San Francisco and I was going to be whoever I wanted to be, because no one was there to tell me, wait, remember that other day when you did this? Or wait, you're this person. What are you doing? No one was there to put me in check other than myself. So I said, I'm going to be the version of me that I want to be. And right when I was being exactly who I wanted to be, that's when I was like, oh, this is something bigger than me. This is where we're going. And more of the picture kind of became clearer. And I think every day since, that moment for me, every day has been a new revelation of instilling that, okay, we're not that conventional. We're not this. We're not in that box. This is not meant for us.
It's kind of like a person who comes out of the closet. The possibilities become unlimited for what you're able to do and able to be. But also leaving, there's like a quote that says you cannot be a prophet in your own town, in your hometown. You've got to go out there and see what else the world has to offer, what other flavors are on the menu.
Yeah.
When you did that, how did the family respond? How did people respond? How did the church respond?
dramatically. Everyone had shit to say. Everyone who I didn't even know had a seat at the table. All of a sudden, I came back from San Francisco, and everybody that had a seat at this table, and I was like, wait, there were 3 of us earlier, and now there are 10. Like, when did this happen? When did everyone decide that they didn't have a seat? I'm sorry. Like, where were you the past 5 times we were sitting here? Y'all didn't want to sit here, but now that someone's doing something, y'all all want to sit here? Okay, that's fine. Everyone had shit to say. All my siblings had something to say. Mom's house, so Mom and Gina, they both had shit they were saying to me. And the church at that point was slowly seeing me fade away. And so it wasn't like a dramatic, I'm leaving, goodbye. I slid out that back door. And that's basically what I did. I remember there was one Sunday where my parents told me I had to go to church. And I was still living with them. It was one of the house rules. So I was like, fine, I'll go for like an hour. And I go and I slip in and someone grabs me. And they're like, we have a meeting with you. And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's meet. And they're like, we want to give you a calling in the church. And a calling in the church is basically like a duty you have to do every Sunday. And he was like, we feel inspired to give you this calling. And I was like, no. And that's not something you do within the Mormon church. You don't say no when they're giving you a calling, because it's from God himself saying you need this calling. And I was like, and I remember telling him, I looked at this man, and I had respected this man up until this point. I looked at him and I said, I don't come to church at all anymore. When was the last time you saw me? In how many weeks? You want to give me something I'm going to fail at? Because that's what I'm going to do. If you give me this calling, I am going to fail. So if you want to help me, send supplies my way, send aid my way. Don't assign me something where you immediately know I'm not going to do it and then make me feel more like shit because I'm not doing it. And then I walked my ass out that door and I never went back after that.
Isn't that what people who try to control you do? They put you to work. They volunteer you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay here because without you, I am nothing. It's like
pile more guilt on top of you than that's already there that they've created.
When did you... Is it difficult for you to release that guilt and shame?
I think I lost you. Can you repeat that question?
Is it difficult for you to release that guilt and shame?
Yes. Yeah. Even now, I'll still get phone calls where my dad will call me. And mind you, now, like, to go back a little bit, after that trip to San Francisco, after I came back there was a line in the sand, and me and my father did not speak for about a year. We would talk, how are you? But we did not speak. We did not connect. We were like 2 magnets that were like not coming together, like purposely going the other way. And so for a full year, it was like that. And we were not speaking. Now we are. Now, again, we're in this great spot, but he'll still call me and say, you need to come back to church. Or what are you doing? Are you done yet? Please come back to church. Please do this. And every single time it's met with a like, please stop asking me because I can't give this thing to you that I know you so desperately need, but I can't give to you. And so that's something that's still incredibly hard for me because it's that guilt of, well, I know I'm not going to burn in hell, but my parents think I'm going to burn in hell. Well, I know I'm safe. My parents don't know I'm safe. Mm-hmm. And so then there's that added guilt that comes along with it from everyone too, honestly. I think even with my sister, we both served our missions around the same time. And we had such connection on our mission where it was like, you're doing it, I'm doing it, we're doing it together. Like, we're in this forever. So even her, there's that disconnect now where she's trying to learn to take me as I am and not try and pull me in that direction. But there's still that amount of guilt where I know she's coming to me as my sister that I served a mission with because she wants this advice, yet I'm not that person anymore. And I can't be that person. And so it's guilt in that aspect a lot of the times, and not being what they had created. Because in essence, I wrote a poem about this too, actually, for my father. And I think the line went something like, I'm sorry to become who I am. I had to shed the skin that you made for me. Because that's, to become myself, I couldn't be what you wanted me to be. And that to me is heartbreaking, because they did build this skin for me. They did build this ego, this high sitting pretty person. They built that for me, but I had to shed that skin. I couldn't be I had to shed it in its entirety. I couldn't keep a little bit. All of it had to go.
So you really killed the old self.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of resurrected from these ashes of nothing to become what we see here today. Now, just because you left the church, what was your relationship like with that which you called God?
I didn't believe, like, I believed in one, in the concept of, yeah, that's a cool thought, but I didn't give it any much more thought. It was very much, I do what I want, I am what I want, and I'm not going to feel guilty because there's this eye in the sky. There could be 10 eyes in the sky. I don't know. I very much played into not having the answer, and I made that very much like the thing about you, where it's like, you know, everyone has that thing about them where they're just like, she believes that. It's iconic, isn't it? I let God could be real. He could be not real. What are dimensions? What's a simulation? I don't really know. I could be wrong. Anyway, next question. And I played into that. And that's where I lived after I left the church, was, I'm not wrong, but I'm not right. You're not wrong, but you're not correct either. And I lived in that middle ground for a long time. I want to say I lived in that middle ground until we reconnected, up until recently. Because even now, praying is still a very hard thing for me to do. So I want to say, like, you were a major part in me grabbing my values and honing in on what I actually want to believe and creating my own concept of the universe.
And coming back to love.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, you don't have to call it God. You don't have to give it a name.
Mm-hmm.
But understanding your connection with love, I think, is very, very, very important. And I think the church, growing up in the church, it does give us those values and teaches us, you know, some good, not all is bad that comes out of church.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love when you said I had to get rid of all of that. You had to really take it all apart and become nothing all over again to become something. And I think that's what we kind of do, don't we? We go through these phases, these psychological changes of life, right? Where we're like, you know what? I'm deconstructing this bitch and I'm going to, you know, recreate her all over again to something bigger and better. Kayluh phase 3 this time.
Yeah.
You know, version 33 of myself, version 69 of myself, you know, which I think is necessary for our evolutionary process. Yeah. And I think it's necessary for our growth and for our expansion.
What I constantly tell my partners, because I'm non-committal, I have very much commitment issues. What I constantly tell them is that, like, because I think everyone wants to be found in the connection aspect. So when you're like with a partner, and it's like, I'm constantly trying to find myself. That's my number one priority, to constantly, and that's the game that I think everyone plays, where you're constantly trying to find yourself. And frankly, like, I wish that for everybody. I wish everyone could put themselves at their own center and then constantly be finding themselves, because you are a new person every day. You want to hold me to what I said yesterday. I'm a different person than I was yesterday. I am no longer that person. New facts came at me, a new thought process. I thought about it longer than 5 seconds. And so I withdraw that. Don't hold me down to that, because that's what I said 10 minutes ago. And I'm a brand new bitch now.
And thank God we don't hold ourselves to that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't grow.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't expand. We'd be the same boring, basic bitch we were when we were 12 years old,
Mm-hmm.
who didn't serve herself. Now we serve ourselves. We find things that no longer serve us. We get rid of them to make space and to make room for things that do serve us. How are you serving yourself these days?
I serve myself by listening to what my body needs and wants, and then also my brain's needs and wants, keeping them realistic also, but in the sense that if my body, people think I'm fucking crazy, by the way, when I say these things, but my body, if she wants to take a nap, okay, my body needs a nap. I don't need to know why my body needs a nap, but she's going to take a nap. My body is the only vessel I have on this earth as of right now, so I have to cherish it. And so when I serve her, we're giving her the nutrients that she's asking for within the moment. She's not hungry, we don't eat. You are hungry, okay, give me a minute, and I'm going to figure out what exactly my body needs. What nutrients is she asking me for right now? My mental state, where am I right now? What does my mind need? Do we need to go to the beach? Do we need to go outside? Do we need to redirect our energy? And just constantly serving the body and the mind. What do you guys need? Because if you guys are okay, then we're all okay. And so in essence, these are my main priorities on an everyday basis.
And you really have that ultimate freedom, the freedom to live moment by moment by moment, right?
Yep.
And you take advantage of that freedom.
I do. I know that this isn't accessible for everyone. Not everyone can live like this. And I know that I may not be able to live like this always. And so for me, with that mindset of this isn't permanent, it's let me really, really do it now. So when all of a sudden everything gets chaotic, I know how to. And then that's where it really gets tricky.
So you're like in preparation mode.
Mm-hmm.
You're really preparing. I mean, quarantine right now, when this is being shot, we're in quarantine, and you're at your house, and I'm at my house doing a Zoom, and lots of people are not taking advantage of that. Let me listen to my body right now in this moment, and see what it is asking me for. What is it? What needs my attention? I love that you're doing that. You are just this. I just love listening to the way you process things. Your thought processes, they need to be in a book. By the way, let's go to commercial break, because we have some stuff that we want to promote. We'll be right back after these messages. Oh, do you have a Just Jack chat?
I do.
Ooh, girl. And what do you think about the Just Jack chat?
Honestly, they're my favorite chapstick. I think I have like 4 of them, each one in a different location. And you know what? All of my lovers, they like it too.
Well, you know what they say, Just Jack, bringing lovers together.
Yes.
And also you have a, not only a book, we'll get to that later, but you have your stuff, your art stuff.
Yes. I made these like wall decor, and they're embroidered with women. The female body is something that always entices me. Even though I see a lot of straight men, that's besides the point. So I've just, again, embroidered and crocheted women as wall decor. And you can purchase that on my Instagram.
which is where we'll put it wherever this is.
Yeah.
Wherever this is
Okay.
at. But it's great because not only are you supporting small businesses, but you're also, all the proceeds are helping you with your trip, right? You're going on the trip.
Yeah. So I'll be going to San Francisco in February, and the purpose is to go to create art, to create and be art, really. And so all the proceeds are going to help me on that journey. And just becoming this traveling artist that has always been the biggest dream of mine.
So we thank you for supporting small businesses, and you can buy the Just Jack Chap at justjack.com. Just Jack with 2 S's, because one just ain't enough. Hey, all you podcast listeners, this is your good Judy, justjack.com. I just want to thank you for listening to all the mess that we create, and I want to welcome you to join our private Facebook group called The Court of Miracles. That's on Facebook, and the link will be in the description wherever this is uploaded. We're going to be going through different books over the year 2021 and 2022, which will be Think and Grow Rich, The Science of Success by Wallace Wattles. But every day we're going to have different audios, videos, tools, resources for you guys. Mondays we'll have a Mindset Monday, a morning motivational call. Not motivational, because who can I motivate, right? But just a mindset call. Sunday nights we're going to be giving Sunday night lectures. Wednesday nights we'll have Wednesday night webinars, all that fun stuff. And of course, every Friday we will upload our podcast with our friends, so that way you guys can listen more. So go ahead and click the link, and feel free to share this podcast with someone. Who knows, they might get a blessing from it, just like Dolly says. All right, lots of love. Let's get back to this show and wrap this up. Talk to you soon. Bye, Felicia. And we're back with my homegirl, Kayluh. Let's talk about your book. Remember that thing?
I remember that thing. It's hard to forget. No, I've actually, oddly enough, have been thinking about it a lot more than I have in the past since writing it. I read it a few times and lived in that world in which I've created forever ago, feels like. But yeah, that's a thing. Hopefully there will be more books to come in the future that are better. But yeah, that's what do you want to talk about that book?
Let me just tell the audience, this girl had a breakup of a lifetime.
I got my heart broken. I'm a dramatic motherfucker, okay? I'm dramatic.
Her heart was broken, honey, and she put pencil to pad. And not only did she put pencil to pad, she self-published it, okay? And then not only did she self-publish this book, she had a book viewing party. What would you even call that thing?
I had a book party. In all dramaticness, I can't just self-publish a book and then not have a drunk party. By the way, I was so nervous about this book party. So like everything for me had led up to this moment of release, because this was really, truly the last time I was ever going to let myself be heartbroken, because the book is completed. This chapter is done in every sense for me. That was the biggest release, and I was so incredibly nervous. I arrived drunk. People thought I got drunk there. I was already multiple shots in, and Julia, my best friend, one of my best friends, had to drive me because I could not drive. We got her ass driving me there because the book party was the biggest release for me. That was the moment where I had told myself, all right, little girl, your heart was broken. Moving on now. And that's what we did.
In the most dramatic way possible. She read us a
In the
poem
most,
from her book. I'm
I
surprised
read
you didn't stand
all
on
about.
a table.
I almost did. I thought about it. Cute. You think I didn't, but I thought about sitting on those tables and standing up there. But it was very dramatic, very the poems, even now I go back and I cringe, but they are very raw. They're very I take you to that heartbreak place that I lived in.
Yeah.
Because I lived there. I lived there.
Yeah. That day, she gave us a book, and I was talking to your brother, and I was like, oh my gosh, her heart is broken. Like, I wonder what my book would look like after your ass broke my heart. I was like, you know what? I'm taking notes. Next time my heart gets broken, I'm going to write a book, and then I'm going to self-publish it. And I'm
Write
a
book.
The Just Jack.
Write a book. And that book gets sold. By the way, that book still gets sold at Verbatim Book.
Really?
Right here in North Park.
Okay.
Yeah, we go there and it gets there.
So you heard it. Go to Verbatim Books. Support small business. Support
Verbatim Book. Yes. And they are such a amazing they're such an amazing shop. They local art literally everywhere. They have zines everywhere. It's very like that space is very uplifting. An uplifting space to be in.
Do you do zines as well?
I did a couple of them, but I never really took them anywhere. They were mostly, I think, another release for me. But we could talk that up too. I didn't believe in them fully, so I never brought them to the capacity in which they could be. But like I do plan on making more within the future. Really, any medium that gets my heart across is any medium I'm willing to work with.
I'm going to close my window because there's a lawnmower or something out there and it's picking up. So I'll be right back with these messages. Hey, cut that shit out. I'm on a podcast.
Like, excuse me, I set time for this time to this time.
Can you hear it?
I heard it a little bit earlier. I don't hear it now.
Listen, Carlos, put that leaf blower away. Go home to Mary Margaret and the kids. Okay. Was that a racist joke?
I don't think so.
All right, let's go back. Let's go now into some empowering questions. How do you feel about an empowering question?
I love them.
Let's see. What does love mean to you?
Ooh, I think there are so many different colors to love. I don't think us as humans have fully unpacked and sat with all of the concepts of love all across the board. So love looks like literally anything you want it to be in all truest reality and truest form. It's whatever is of the heart is love. The smallest thing. Planting a fucking seed is love.
Amen. I would agree. I think God is love.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Like that's all that God would be, is just pure.
That's still a concept I'm working with. That thought isn't fully brought yet, but we're working on it.
She's getting there, moment by moment, moment by moment.
Right now, I'm having too much fun putting jabs in the concept of gods that people create.
You know, I did that for the longest time. Like, I even did this thing where I was like going to reveal how Jesus was not even real. But the more I dug in, the more I started realizing and recognizing what the idea of Jesus was actually promoting.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, whether there was, whether there wasn't, whether there is, whether there isn't, I like the stories. And I think the way human beings learn is through parable and through stories. So I like stories, you know.
Yeah. I definitely don't hate the concept of God and Jesus. I just think that we've fucked up that vision so much that we don't truly know its form.
Right.
So that's where I like to get with people, and I'll be like, well, really, if you think about it, it's this. Why can't it be?
Yeah. Yeah. Why can't
it be just loving and fun with all of us?
Yeah. Why can't it just be giving some loving? What would Jesus do?
Yeah.
In what kind of things are you brilliant?
Am I brilliant? That's a hard one. I want to say I'm brilliant in a lot of things, but when if I like try to say it out loud, it's like, are you really though?
Like, I'm a brilliant mess, okay?
Yes, that's perfect. That's perfect. I'd want to say, and I'm open to being wrong. And mind you, I'm a different person every other day. So if this changes in a minute, don't judge me. But I want to say I'm brilliant at just being. The concept of just being for me is one that I've had since the beginning of quarantine, of just being, just sitting there and sitting still with the earth and living in that moment. I want to say I'm brilliant at that.
I would agree. I would definitely agree with that. I mean, this interview, whatever you want to call it, alone shows that you are brilliant at being, just being. What are some of your most important values?
My most important values. Well, family for me, for one, is an important value I have. The concept of family, whatever that looks like to any different person, because the concept of family values to me looks 100% different than to you and to everyone else. So for me, the concept of family is my concept of family is something I value very, very much so. Also, the concept of time. I value the concept of time because time is as small as you want it to be and as grand as you want it to be. And of course, like mutual respect within people. That's something I value wholeheartedly. When there's mutual respect in the room, every door is open, every possibility is open, everything can ebb and flow just as beautifully as you want to create it to be.
Amen, girl. Amen to that. Gosh, that needs to be on my board somewhere. right, last one. How would you want people to remember you when you're no longer here?
Back to this just being. I want to be remembered, if at all, as someone who is just able to be and to create magic in just being and just sitting looking at a wall and then me being able to create something within that wall. I think my bedroom is a place that I created that looks magical and that looks fun. However, for me, this is my place to just be. And so I think if anything, I want to be remembered for the magic and the creation in just being.
Yeah, you most definitely have been able to do that, and you really made your space a magical place. I mean, we're in quarantine, so what I've noticed with most of my friends is that they've created their own sanctuary in their rooms. And what they've been telling me is, well, I'm stuck in here 24/7, 365. I might as well make it pretty. And I go into all my friends' rooms and I'm kind of like, oh my God, I never want to leave.
Yeah.
I never want to leave my friend's room. I never want to leave you. Every time I go into your room, I shouldn't be saying this because we're in quarantine, but every time I go into your room, I'm like, oh my God, look at, I didn't notice that was there. Was that there last time? When did you do that? You know, I didn't see that. You're like, yes, actually, I was feeling this emotion at that time. And yes, I mean, even when you brought me flowers, okay, let me just say to the audience, one day out of the blue, I was about to go give a lecture and she texts me and she said, you said, by any chance, are you home? Which I'm usually not. So much for quarantine, but I'm usually not. And I said, I am, but I'm about to give a lecture. And she's like, can I just stop by? And I said, you know, I literally am going on in 2 minutes, in 30 seconds. And so she said, okay, fine, whatever. So then she said, I have something to give to you. I said, okay. Then afterwards, her brother was going to come hang out with me. So I told him to ask her, I'm going to stop saying her. I told him to ask you if you just wanted to give it to me. Then I was like, no, don't ask her anything. I'm going to call her myself. So I called you and I was like, your brother's coming over. Do you want to send it with him? And you're like, yeah, I can do that. But I noticed in your tone, you were not okay with that decision. So I was like, what? You don't want to come see me? You go, no, I do want to come see you. Okay, I'm on my way right now. And then you came to my house with a bouquet of flowers, for crying out loud. Flowers. And I was like, you know, it's very rude when someone buys you flowers to ask why, but I couldn't help it. I was like, thank you. Why are you buying me flowers? Why did you buy me flowers? And do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I said the universe told me to buy you flowers.
She said, well, I was crying in the shower.
Oh, yes, I was going to leave that out. But okay, we're really going to do this. I was crying in the shower, sad about my life, about something. And I had been sitting there for like, in this mental state for like 3 days. I was in the shower and I was like, how do I release this? And the universe was like, buy Jack flowers. Stop being sad about yourself. And I was like, okay, we can do that. But then I finished my shower first and then we went and saw
And it made my day. I'm not a flower person. I'm really not a flower person. All of my lovers know, don't buy me flowers, because if you want to buy me anything, flowers die, just like our relationships. So if you want to buy me anything, buy me a plant that I can just slowly kill. Just kidding. No, but I always say buy me a plant.
symbolic of our relationship. It's a love fern.
It's a love fern. But you bought me flowers, and as I look at them right now, they're still so beautiful. One of my friends from the church house, she told me, when you bring plants and flowers into your bedroom, they bring life into your environment. And I believe that. And these plants have brought so much life, and these flowers have brought so much life into my environment this past week. And I thank you. Couple weeks, right? Couple weeks I've had these flowers.
Yeah, I think like 2 maybe. I'm so glad that they were able to do that for you.
Yeah. And then there were some that hadn't bloomed yet in the bouquet. And so little by little, I'm watching them bloom, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
You should have seen me in this Vons picking out your flowers, by the way. I had 2 in my hand, and I was going through them. And because I was just going to grab a random one. But then I was like, no, this has to be intentional. And so I'm running around in this circle, and I'm like putting ones back, grabbing new ones, looking at them. And they had to be like, in my mind then, it was like, they have to be the perfect flowers. They have to say Jack. And so literally I'm going through these flowers, putting them back. People think I'm crazy. I'm touching everything. And then finally it was like, okay, these ones are the perfect out of all of them. And I said goodbye to all the other flowers. And I was like, we're not going back.
They are most definitely for me. They're by my little Buddha. And I thank you. Well, let's do one more shameless plug, shall we, before we call it quits? Make sure to order your Just Jack chap at justjack.com with 2 S's, because one just ain't enough. And also support small businesses, support local artists by buying Kayluh's artwork and buy her best-selling book.
Yes.
What to Do After a Heartbreak.
The Mexican.
Write a bestseller. I thank you so much, friend, for sticking with me all
so much for having me on here.
It's my pleasure. It's my honor. Thank you for being part of my life. Thank you for not giving up on me. And thank you for the love. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you so much. Thank you.
All right, girl. Now it's time to say goodbye. Make sure if you are, for all you guys listening on the podcast, make sure if you're not subscribed to our newsletter, you subscribe to our newsletter at justjack.com, JUSSTJACK.com, and make sure to join our group on Facebook, the Court of Miracles, and make sure to follow us on all social media platforms at justjack with 2 S's. And follow Kayluh. What's your handle?
My handle is KAYLUH_OTE. And you can find that on every social media platform.
All social media platforms. She has a Twitter, a Twitter, and an Instagram.
Yes.
And an OnlyFans, so make sure you subscribe.
Subscribe if you want to see my nudes. They're not free anymore. Ugh.
Ah! Now, what's the point in opening up the store if you give the goods away?
Exactly.
All right, we're out of here. Bye, Felicia.
Bye. Love you.